What's up YouTube, YNKHD back for another review. This time we have the Lenovo ThinkPad X13 Gen 3 with the Intel version processor. I know this is a controversial laptop in that it's not a popular one. The Lenovo ThinkPad name is a very prominent name in the laptop industry, but most people go for the T series laptops. The X series is supposed to be more of a ultra portable, smaller version of the T series, but I think what I have here can compete with the MacBook Air M2 as well as Dell's new flagship XPS 13 Plus. I think this can outperform both of those devices. I think this can even push the envelope to get with the MacBook Pro M2 without carrying the hefty price tag of $2,000 or more. This laptop, as I have it spec'd out here, is $1,600. This blows away, these specs blow away the MacBook Air, which is at $1,499, as well as the XPS Plus 13 with the i7 entry-level processor, which comes in at $1,349. I think right here is a good build that can definitely perform well, but also maintain that small laptop factor. The Dell XPS is a nice-looking laptop, but to me it looks delicate. And then the MacBook Air is another great-looking laptop, super thin, super portable, but I just don't believe that the performance standards are there to meet with what most people want today. So, as in typical fashion, let's unbox this for you, show you what we got. There is not many X13 unboxings and reviews out there on YouTube, so here it is, the Lenovo ThinkPad X13 Generation 3 with the Intel processor. Now, as I get it open here, what a lot of people got excited about with the X13 was that they offered a AMD processor. Now, I'm not a fan of AMD, it's just personal preference. I typically like to go for the Intel processors. But there is the AMD processor out there that does offer a lesser price point. So right off the bat, we have our, looks like, batteries and cable management here. Let's take a look. So we have our AC adapter, which, yes, it is USB-C. They got rid of their proprietary charging cable, the square cable, but it is USB-C now. And it is much, much smaller, and right there for you, 65 watts. This is better than your competitor of the Dell. The Dell, I believe, gives a 30-watt battery charger. Getting back into it, I have our wonderful reusable protection. Got some of our pamphlets here. So we just got our quick start guides, all our safety warranty information in there. Pretty useless. So here it is, the Lenovo ThinkPad X13. It is super light. Here's our security seal. We are going to break. Excellent. So, right off the bat, got that beautiful Lenovo ThinkPad graphite color. I did opt for Windows 10 Pro downgrade. but it does have the Windows 11 Pro installed as well. I'm a Windows 10 aficionado, if you were to say. I like that. I don't like Windows 11. I just like the ease and the capabilities of Windows 10. There it is, magnesium casing. Before we open up, we'll just go around on the ports. Right side, we have our Kensington lock, some grills for exhaust, USB-A port. I did not opt for the smart card, as I don't need that. Our headphone jack, another USB-A port, that is the always charge, full-size HDMI, and then 2 USB-C ports, or Thunderbolt ports, however you want to call them. But I definitely think another leg up on the Dell XPS as well as the MacBook Air is our port selection here. Full-size HDMI and 2 USB-C ports. And 2 USB-A ports. I don't like this motion of just putting a USB-C port and having all these dongles. I like the capabilities of still retaining your USB-A ports. And here we are. All right, guys, first look, Lenovo ThinkPad X13, opening up the screen. You get hit with the famous Lenovo chiclet style keyboard that everybody loves. It is a great feeling keyboard. It's one of those things, if it ain't broken, no need to fix it. A lot of competitors, for example, the Apple MacBook as well as the Dell XPS, tend to try different things with their keyboards when the original style is the one that's most liked. So I like the fact that Lenovo sticks to what people like, and it is this keyboard. This does come with the V Pro model of the i7 processor, something that the XPS 13 spec'd out does not. It does have the Dolby Audio sound system in it. It's got the one-piece glass trackpad, your famous track point, as well as something new that they did was, if you remember, if you got a fingerprint reader, it used to be somewhere in this general area. Well, what they decided to do, kind of judging with what everybody else is doing, is integrate it into the power button. So that is going to be your fingerprint reader. And then they also took one of the lights. If you can see that dot, that is kind of looks like it's filled in. That is your indicator light. They have integrated that into the speaker grills up top. For the screen, thin bezels. It is a 13.3 WQXGA is what they call its screen. It's coming out at 2560 by 1600 IPS, anti-glare. It is a non-touch, so the thing with this screen is if you wanted the better quality screen, it did not come in touchscreen. The only touchscreen was the Full HD one. Webcam, Full HD webcam, different than your competitors. I believe they only have a 720 webcam, and it does have the privacy slider. I did opt for the backlit keyboard. I think that's very useful, especially in low light situations. So let's power up and see what we're looking like. One thing that the Lenovo kind of had a knock to with the backlit keyboard is due to its chiclet style, the light would emanate from the surrounding of the key, which, again, when you're kind of sitting down, you could kind of see it over top. I don't think it's a problem. It's definitely nothing that would be annoying to me. So far as build quality and the way it's set up, I like it very much. I think it's a great size laptop that packs a lot in it for the size. I hate carrying around large laptops. I believe that just kills the idea of a laptop. Laptop is for portability. If you need something big and bulky, then get a desktop. So I always look to go with the smallest possible form factor I can, but also retain the best performance. I don't want any hiccups. I don't want any problems with performance. I want this thing to power right through. So remember, we are working with 32 gigs of RAM, okay? It is DDR5 RAM, so it's our brand new RAM. Just going through some setups. We'll get some so now something that I am thinking about doing is getting rid of, I currently run, if you could see over there, a MacBook Pro M1 2021 model. Thinking about getting rid of that, replacing that with an iPad, and keeping this ThinkPad as my daily driver. Be doing some testing with it, some everyday use with it, and see how I like it compared to my MacBook. But that is an option that I'm thinking about doing. I am an Apple guy. I have, love Apple products, love the interface of Apple. So it'll be interesting to see how the Windows compares to that. I've used Windows 11. I don't like it. I was a Windows 7 guy. I loved Windows 7, and really did not like Windows 8 at all. Windows 10 was doable for me, and now Windows 11 is giving me Windows 8 vibes. So that's why I opted for the Windows 10 in this model. So honestly, nothing beats Mac OS to me personally. I think Windows is just too much room for error, if that makes sense. So we'll see how I adjust to the everyday life of a Windows user. But that does have to play a part in what I'll be doing as far as, switching from MacBook to Lenovo to Windows. Something that I've noticed off the bat, set up really quick. This does come with, I opted for the 512 gigabyte SSD PCIe hard drive. I think minus the 256 common is a 512 hard drive now. All of your competitors, the MacBook, the Dell XPS, both come with the 512. One thing I do want to mention, and I don't know if I kind of briefed over it before, was, this is just going to ask for account stuff, so before I get into that, I'll just talk a little bit about some other specs here, is the battery. This comes with a 4-cell battery, right? The Dell XPS 13 Plus is only putting out a 3-cell, okay? And the MacBook Air, I believe it only has a 3-cell as well. Don't quote me on that. I know it says a 52.6 watt battery, so that would be actually equivalent to probably 3-cell or a little bit smaller, because the primary battery in the Dell XPS is a 3-cell 55 watt battery. And right here, like I said, we're working with a 4-cell 54 watt battery, so a little bit bigger of the battery. I would say probably the knock, if we're comparing MacBook Air, Dell XPS, and ThinkPad, the MacBook Air does have a slightly, and I say slightly better resolution. It's 2560 by 1664 at 224 pixels. This is the 560 by 1600 display. Dell XPS doesn't compare. It's only got a full HD 920 by 1200 display. And then the MacBook has a 500 nit. This is 400 nit. So a little bit better of display on the MacBook, but we're still getting a higher quality screen here. This is not just full HD. Big knock though with the MacBook is you're only getting 8 gigs of RAM. 8 gigs, that's it. Even the Dell XPS bumps it up to 16. Here we have 32 gigs of RAM. That's the max that you can get on this. I also maxed out that processor on here. Okay, that's going to be 12 cores, 16 threads, where the MacBook's only giving you 8 cores. Okay, so big, huge improvement with the processor in this ThinkPad. But for now, I'm going to get this thing set up. I'm going to use it a little bit, and maybe I'll make another video if you guys want to hear my thoughts on some usage out of this. But for now, that is your unboxing and preliminary overview of the Lenovo ThinkPad X13 Generation 3 with the Intel processor.